Steph, 2 belts, defends both belts during last night's NXT broadcast. Was Stephanie able to hold on to at least one of those titles? Or was Fatal Influence able to steal one away? Maybe Jada Parker high-stepping, high-kneeing out of that NXT show last night with a brand new shiny championship. We'll talk all about NXT's broadcast from last night, a very rare once-in-a-blue-moon double title defense, this one from Stephanie Vaquer. We're also going to talk TNA, talent, quote, furious at this company. Talent and other suits and ties, asking the questions this morning, why, how, what is going on? As numerous top officials, execs, all get the axe, get fired over the last 24 hours, most notably to the talent anyway, Gail Kim. Gail Kim fired from TNA. Can't even believe those words are coming out of my mouth because as talent will tell you, BC will tell you, and a lot of you guys already know, Gail Kim has been the heartbeat of that women's division. And it expands beyond just that division. The company in totality. Gail Kim, highly respected and one of the heartbeats in that company. And everybody now who remains in that company is asking, how could this have been done? What is going on? And if you've been listening to BC from the jump, you shouldn't be shocked. I put up an upload just last month telling everybody what was going on. Telling you guys that, yeah, when new management comes into a company, new ownership, now no matter how high the peak is, whether it's new management, new ownership, there's going to be changes. But keep a keen eye because you can start to see much more than just the normal happening sometimes. And when that occurs, that means they're positioning themselves for a potential sale. They're trying to make themselves a lot more sexy, appealing to those potential buyers. I said this about WWE when nobody wanted to hear it. No, it's not happening. Maybe way in the future, BC. But I was waving that red flag. I said, guys, I'm starting to see some things. When you start to axe all of these departments and merge other departments together, certain ones, waves of firings, certain budget cuts, also in waves, you're starting to see a pattern. And for WWE, I mean, they made it even more obvious as time went on with the WWE headquarters, selling their original building, looking for the new location. All of these things they added up. Nobody wanted to hear it. But I ended up being the first one to wave that flag, and just a few months later, they announced the sale. I said in last month's upload, trust me when I say that this new management, they want to put TNA on the market. They want to see if there's potential buyers. They're going to listen. And what I'm seeing is they are more than ready to sell, probably on the cheap end. A lot of people, just like WWE, didn't want to hear it, though, right? Especially if you really love the company, you don't want to hear that. No, it's just new management, man. This is what happens in business. But to align, right, there's a degree. Once you surpass that, it becomes a whole nother entity. Now you're going beyond just, oh, this is a new management. This is how we want to operate. It goes beyond that. You have a different mission in mind. All of these moves is not coincidence. They're shocking everybody with some of these moves. These aren't just little things to tweak around to maybe make a better product. These are things to sexify themselves. Make themselves way more attractive on the market. Why do you think? For buyers. So everybody shouldn't be shocked because there's the old adage, right? All is fair in love, war, and business. This is business. And everybody, it looks like in TNA, is on the chopping block. If they can get rid of Gail Kim, ain't nobody in that company would be safe, you would have to imagine. We're going to talk all about it. I'll go more in depth with why I truly believe that this is going to be on the it probably has already been on the market internally. We'll talk about it. How furious is the talent? Guys, I have quotes from a lot of talent. I have reports. A new one just came out again, as I said, from Fightful. We'll go over all of this. It's that bad right now. the climate in TNA backstage and behind the scenes, because again, there's no transparency and this new management isn't giving any. All they said about the Gail Kim firing, by the way, is that just changes, operational changes. They gave nothing else. Talk all about it. It's weird, I know, man. You got an amped up. This one again, I don't even know if I gave the right introduction today. Where there's so much news. But for this amped up, Wednesday, the 26th of March of the year 2025, it's hard to fathom that the two big headlines, we're going to be talking NXT and TNA, of all things. But we go where the news takes us. So that's the cold open teaser. That's where I'm going to leave it for now. I'm going to get a swig of my coffee. My double shot, extra. You guys get your beverages, sit back, max, relax while BC drops the facts. It's 44 dive, we're rolling. Hold up, edit, cut that. Before we go to the opening signature, I got some breaking news, man. Literally just popped up. Saraya is out of AEW. She has parted ways with AEW or vice versa, but they have parted ways. Saraya is no longer, Paige from WWE, no longer with AEW. Paige, or Saraya, has issued this statement. I'm here to tell you that me and AEW's relationship has come to an end. There is no bad blood between us. I had a magical time. Tony is awesome. So there you go. Anybody that works there, she says, will have a blast. So she is speaking very highly of Tony Khan. She has been kind of alluding for the last several weeks, not alluding, telling us straight out that AEW has nothing for her. That's what she's been saying. She's been saying things like she's not needed right now. There's not a place for her. So she's almost alluding like she was ready at any time, but Tony's kind of like, So this is a developing story, or I guess that is the story. She's gone. I don't know what more details we would need. But if there is any that become available, BC will obviously distribute them to you. Breaking news. All right, now a swig of coffee. Let's go to the opening signature. Wow, that's pretty big. Yeah, that's pretty big. You know, I mean, I understand she hasn't really done much in AEW, but maybe that's what makes this big, you know, is that we never really got to see the full potential of Saraya in AEW, I feel. And maybe that's the whole thing. Maybe she just went there with nothing but respect in saying this. But maybe she went there a shell of herself already with the injuries and all that has happened personally that you guys know has been well documented. Maybe you were never going to truly get. We were never going to get the Paige from WWE. So maybe the expectations were already so high. You mix in the very odd booking. And then AEW just kind of hit their turmoil at just an odd time. I don't know. I just feel like this was... Some people are going to say this was a bad hiring. I don't think so at all, man. Saraya's on the market. She wants to wrestle. WWE didn't want to touch that. You know, they didn't even want to put Daniel Bryan back when he was cleared by 116 doctors. Slight exaggeration. But AEW was like, dude, we'll give you a chance. I mean, if the docs are saying you're good, you're ready to rock. It was a big name. The women's division could really use a name like that at the time. I don't think this was a bad hiring at all. Unfortunately, the truth is I feel that this was, it was just a bust. It was sadly a bust. Not saying that she didn't do some good stuff, but for the years that she was there, I don't know if there's enough to build a portfolio. So, I don't know. Like I said, I'll try to find out more about this, but... you know, it sucks that we weren't able to see a lot more from Saraya. But again, the question is, can she give more? You know, those injuries, unfortunately, at a young age, they stacked up. And then, of course, the recent one just really just sent her for a loop. Mercedes still gets a lot of heat for that. I feel it's unwarranted, but, just a rough situation. So we'll see what's next for Saraya. If you guys are wondering my thoughts on her going back to WWE, I don't see any reason at all. Unless there's a gig like the backstage show they used to have that she was a part of. I don't see any. I don't know if her heart is even still in it. She likes to do so much other stuff. She used to love the whole Twitch game back in the day. I don't know if she's still heavy into that. You know what I mean? I don't know the benefit. The positives would have to outweigh the negatives. If you're World Wrestling Entertainment, are you putting a paycheck up for Saraya? I mean, I just don't know how much is left in the tank. How much juice is left? I don't know. You'd have to have a real plan for somebody like Saraya. Because it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a rough thing. I guess it's one of those things you kind of saw coming, but you're like, no, there's got to be more for her in that company. No, that was the last days of, I mean, she wasn't even on TV for the longest of time, and then boom, she's gone. All right. I didn't mean to spend too much time on that. That was breaking news as we were on the air, so I'm trying to fathom it, guys, in real time. So that's why this was not supposed to be a part of the show. All right, let's jump into another unfortunate situation. This is over in TNA Wrestling. And the company continues to position itself for a sale. Now, some people might not want to hear that, especially TNA loyalists. I hear you. But that's what's happening, guys. They're not going to tell you that probably. Sometimes they will. I remember it reached a point finally in WWE where enough people were catching on. It wasn't just BC. That they finally had to admit, yes, we're taking the calls. If people have interest in buying WWE, we're not going to shy away from the conversation. They had to start admitting that. So right now, TNA may not admit that, but just look at what's happening. It's the same exact formula. I see it all the time in New York with top businesses. You saw it with World Wrestling Entertainment. You have been seeing it with TNA. Since the new management took over, from day one, they've been telling you. They're positioning themselves, sexifying themselves for a sale. So then you get a situation like this where everybody is shocked over the last 24 hours, not BC. I mean, I'm a little bit taken back that Gail Kim is out of that company. Yes, I am. But not shocked that all of this is transpiring. And it doesn't even end there, guys. It doesn't. Because the further this goes along and the more deeper the conversations go, and if interest does filter in, and they do get some calls, and they do get potential buyers to negotiate, takes on a whole nother life of its own. But let's stick to this story. I'm not going to run down the whole names. There was a lot of them that have been made public already, and several names that have not. But Gail Kim is the name that's resonating throughout the pro wrestling world because she has been the heartbeat of that women's division. She's the one pulling the strings. Talent relations, it is. And all those women looked up to Gail Kim. And she was fired. At first, I was thinking maybe they just parted ways. Right? Because even if you're position yourself for a sale, you would think that Gail Kim would still be good. For now, anyway. So I thought, wow, Gail just wants to go and pursue other things. No, it was pretty quickly reported. Sean Ross, I believe, in Fightful, maybe one of the first, if not the first, to say, just to be clear, this is a quote from Sean Ross, just to be clear, these were firings. So, I mean, that's confirmation. These were firings. So that just kind of took me back. And Sean Ross, by the way, also, this is a quote on this report from Fightful. Significant pushback from the roster to the point where talent was willing to leave the company. At least one talent told him up front they're willing to leave the company over this. So the word is talent is willing to leave. He had one talent actually confirm this to him. That's wild, man. Some of the feedback we're getting from talent, Stephanie Vaquer saying, "What the f are we doing? I'm sure she didn't want to put the LOL after that, but it gets to a point of absurdity. You're kind of just, you can't help but laugh for a second. Like, what are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? She says. Rosemary just put an angry emoji. Just like pissed off. And that's the word we're getting, right? I mean, the talent, and I'm talking the dudes too, not just the ladies, furious backstage. Tasha Steele says, get the fuck out of here. Tasha's not having it. Kimberly Ford, tell me how you really feel, right? Okay, get the fuck out. Gail Kim is a living legend, a trailblazer, an absolute icon. You are going to fire her, TNA? Beyond absurd. It's unfathomable. And this can go on and on. I mean, we'd be here another 30 minutes with all just talent from across the board, just stunned at this decision. Masha Slamovich said Gail Kim was her dream match. Ash by Elegance says she was drawn to TNA because of Gail Kim. In the meantime, in the time being, Tom Dreamer will be running talent relations. That'll probably switch up in the near future as well. And then you just go to, okay, BC, well, let's talk sale then. I mean, if all these absurd changes are happening and everybody's pissed off because they're seeing what's going on from the corporate to the ring itself, who buys? Is it a bunch of investors? Is it a bunch of idiots that know nothing about wrestling, but they're going to try to get their feet wet into it, try to make a buck? I mean, they can probably get this on the cheap end. It's probably going to be a steal. Because TNA, like it's always been, unfortunately, is fluctuating. There's the old saying, sink or swim. Somehow it's been floating this entire time. It's been floating. It's not sinking, that's the good news. It's not exactly called swimming, right? It's like the doggy paddle, you're just trying to stay afloat. That's been TNA for years. And TNA's been freaking decent too, to even good, right? Like so many people throughout the years will tell you, no, dude, TNA's good. You got to give it another chance. And nobody's even arguing that. It's just with the oversaturation of wrestling and just a perception, unfortunately, of TNA. Not enough people will even give it another look. But they've had so many issues as well. And the peaks and the valleys, the highs and the lows have been just too many. So they can get this on the cheap end. So you go to who buys it? Well, you start obviously with World Wrestling Entertainment. Yes, that is the most obvious. Is it needed? No. Is that wasted money, even if they can get it on the cheap end for WWE? Yes. It's not needed. More talent is not needed. But this is something they would do because they love monopolizing, whether it was Vincent Kennedy or Endeavor, Silver Lake now because they just also sold. TKO is still its own thing. Endeavor went private with Silver Lake, I believe. But there's always this perception of just monopolize. Just get everything, right? Vince was like that. Got WCW, didn't even make a WCW. Just everybody pretty much got fired. Some people came in. Buff Bagwell, Booker T, and several others. That was really it. They tried to make like a WCW division, but there was no separate company in actuality. He just killed WCW. He bought it. That was it. Done. And I don't think you would even have a TNA. I really don't. I think at that point, they would just make that like another performance center. Because what are you going to do? You already have too many hours of television that Hunter can't even book for. They're lost. You don't need a TNA. Which is exactly why they would do something like this. Monopolize. Boom, we got another one. I think the writing's probably on the wall already. Maybe that's already the plan. That's why you see this working relationship and they already have things in paper. Pen to paper already on a relationship. They're a stone's throw away from owning TNA already. You guys just don't even realize it. The sad truth is TNA is already WWE's bitch. And I say that sadly, unfortunately. That's not a good thing. Because that's the last thing we need is WWE continuing their monopolization. But WWE is clearly the obvious choice. Then you go to All Elite Wrestling. A lot of people don't even realize this, and I think it was 2018. They were about to sell to Tony Khan. There was real talks, guys. So that's another thing for everyone going, TNA's not going to sell. Guys, they've been for years. You don't know. That's how business operates. Only now we're starting to actually see them position themselves for it. But back in 2018, there was real talks to sell to Tony Khan. Guess you can say that's where the All Elite Wrestling concept really originated. But there was already talks. I mean, that's the same thing, though. Much differently, obviously, with WWE. But AEW does not need another company. He doesn't know how to... ROH is hindering right now. On what? Nobody knows. Bringing in TNA, because unlike WWE, I truly think that Tony Khan would utilize TNA. TNA would be his third brand. He can't even get his first brand, AEW, back to $750,000 on a Wednesday night. We're struggling to stay in the 600,000s. ROH is in limbo. And you got TNA now? I mean, these owners, they have to stop and think, is this best for our business? No. Other than ego. I don't think how much bang for your buck you think you're going to get other than adding that to your library. I understand. You'll get some investment on that. I don't know if you're truly going to make... Again, if you get this for peanuts, I guess the investment would, in the end, work out. But is it needed, or is more going to just sink your ship? And then the last name. That's right. You guys thought this was not a possibility? Bullshit. Vincent Kennedy McMahon VKM. Come on, BC. No, you come on. That is an absolute option. Anybody in the know, my people down in Florida especially, have been telling me by the week that what they are hearing just is picking up by the day. Vince is coming back with authority. Vince is coming back with vindication. Vince McMahon is coming back full throttle amplified. He is. We just don't know in what realm. Is he going to try to take the movie world again like he did with WWE films, but this time with more gusto? Is he going to come back with another XFL? Was The Rock just keeping it warm for him? Is he going to come back with a hockey team or try to take on the NBA? You never know with Vince. But we were told from day one, anybody in the know, don't rule out Vince in professional wrestling. Could you imagine if all this... Guys, he's got family right there in WWE, and Nick Khan is extended family, trust me. Do you honestly think that all of this is being done and Vince has no knowledge of any of it? What if this relationship and putting things in writing and all of this... Could you imagine if Vince just took TNA wrestling? You thought about it. At first you go, nah. And then you thought about everything you've seen Vince do. And the wildest shit we've seen in pro wrestling. And it just dawned on you right now, didn't it? That could happen. That could absolutely happen. Where Vince McMahon owns TNA. Vince loses nothing. He doesn't have to make it another WWE. He gets to be the owner. He gets to be the hot shot. They're in this relationship with World Wrestling Entertainment anyway. The public outcry will be minimal because technically he's not a part of WWE. He owns TNA. It's just a relationship that they have. But no, we wiped our hands clean with Vince. He's not a part of WWE. You could continue on with the stocks. That's TNA. Trust me. I've been hearing the little birdies. Mine from down in Florida, but in totality, I've been keeping a keen eye. If you're ruling out Vincent Kennedy McMahon, you just don't know Vincent Kennedy McMahon and you haven't been paying attention to how this wacky world of pro wrestling operates. It's sad what has just happened over the last 24 hours in TNA, but all is fair in love, war, and business, and they're positioning themselves for a sale. When I put that upload up last month, a lot of people didn't want to believe it, didn't like to hear that. That's not true. No way. Here we are. They're getting deeper and deeper into these just corporate changes. Just some company changes. Some? You know what's going on behind the scenes with the departments being axed and the merging of other... This is what happens when you are sexing yourself up for potential buyers. But we'll keep a keen eye. I was the first to say this, one of the first anyway, if not to say this about WWE when everybody was denying it. No way, dude, no way. And a few months later, they announced their sale. I said this last month about TNA. No way. Here we are. A huge monumental step closer to the inevitable. Don't be shocked if you guys wake up one morning and you hear TNA's been sold. And don't totally be floored anyway if you hear it's from Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Swig of coffee. We'll talk some NXT. NXT 325-25. Stephanie Vaquer versus Jada Parker. NXT Women's Championship on the line. One of two title defenses for Stephanie. The other, the North American Women's title, of course, with Fallon Henley, former champion herself. So for this Stephanie versus Jada match, this match went just a few seconds past the 10-minute mark. Stephanie pins Parker via roll-up. And upon further look, I believe Jada's shoulder was up, at least for the whole count of one. After that, maybe Stephanie was able to reposition, but technically, if they wanted to, they could put that storyline-wise or at least help make Jada save face. I don't think that was supposed to happen, by the way. I think this is a Randy Orton thing. Who was Orton in there with? Was it Gunther? Many months ago. And Orton's whole shoulder was just off the mat, and he still was pinned. It was a total botch. I don't think they made that too much of a story until a couple months later, though, when they crossed paths again, and then Randy said, technically, I didn't lose. But with this, I don't think this was planned, but I do believe her shoulder was off the mat for that count. And just putting that out there, man. This is a legit amplified review channel. So you're going to get an amplified review, man. I watch with a keen eye. Nothing gets past. So again, roll up. Parker takes the L. And this was following a Jordynne Grace distraction, by the way. Now, I love me some Jordynne Grace, but I was very upset that she decided to show up right in the middle of Jada's high stepping. Those high knees, man. She just did her first one, and Jordynne was up on the apron. I love Jordynne. I don't know as much as Jada right now. Jada's high on my radar, but damn, I love Jordynne. I was just like, not now, man. We getting the high knees. We high stepping. That actually upset BC. And then moments later, Jada was looking up at the lights. Kind of. I'm not a fan of the roll-up finish, but I understand Stephanie has another match up there. Jada was caught off guard. All right, no harm, no foul. Not last night. It wasn't Jada's night last night, but Jada will have her night. I made it a point to put that in my notes. It wasn't last night, but Jada will have her night. Post-match, Fatal Influence attacks Stephanie. I thought this was well done. If you're going to, I'm against this decision, but if you're going to have Fallon Henley take that title, at least do the attack. Put the boots to Stephanie. Have her going in there maybe 65-70% at best into that main event match with Fallon. And if you're going to have her win, add the suspense by the beatdown anyway. So I think this was simplistic, but so well done. Fatal Influence hits the ring. Take out Stephanie Vaquer. One of one so far. One title match left. So she's at least walking away with one, and it's the big one, the world title. The Women's NXT Championship. So Stephanie got the job done. Now she's going into the main event about 70%. Will she retain? Talk about it in a few minutes. But first, we got to go to Ricky Saints. Newly acquired Ricky Starks, Ricky Saints now in WWE's NXT brand. A sit-down interview with Ricky, with Vic Joseph. So this was pretty cool. See Vic Joseph in those like Michael Cole roles. Empty arena, lights dimmed down. I liked it, the whole setting of it, and it's perfect for everybody to get to know Ricky Saints a little bit more. For the fans that don't know much about him, right? Why should we care about this dude? So one of the questions that Vic Joseph asked was why a lot of the locker room just doesn't want him here. And Ricky says confidence, right? Confidence scares people. And I have an abundance of confidence these days. And that is off-putting. That's going to scare people. I thought that was such a really good answer because it aligns with what he did like in recent weeks. Where he'll just be walking through the locker room, not even looking at anybody, head up in the air, just like, move, I'm coming through. And he's not like the biggest dude or this biggest presence. So a lot of people are like, what the fuck is this dude on? You know, and so Vic asks his question. He's just like, confidence, man. I'm confident. I don't have to do all these stop and chaps. I don't want to. Maybe that makes me an asshole. Maybe. I just have an A to B. I have my destination, and it's A to B. And if you're in my way, see you later. Because you gots to go. I just love the answer. Vic then asks, what has him so motivated? Ricky says he talks about living... Just great. This is what I mean. Like, this needs to be done when a character just gets there. A character like Ricky, anyway. Like, get people invested into what you are. Why should we care? Why are you so motivated is the question. Ricky's like, dude, I remember living in my car. I didn't remember when my next meal was going to be. I didn't know when I was going to eat again. I didn't know when I was going to be able to buy new clothes. I mean, that's the type of story you go, damn, I didn't know that about Ricky. Now, we did. We know this story, obviously. If you heard enough Ricky interviews, he's talked about this in depth. But to put this on air on the CW for a ton of casuals that probably didn't know that story, I just thought it was great. Sean Spears then interrupts. He excuses Vic Joseph from the equation, so Joseph kicks rocks, and he takes his seat. So now we have a very personal one-on-one face-to-face here, Sean Spears and Ricky Saints. Spears says, if this doesn't work out, you can always go back. Oh, wait. We all know you've already burnt every other bridge. And he walks away with the goon crew. So I thought that was so well done. Obviously, that's an AEW reference. If this whole thing doesn't work out, because clearly you're coming from my championship, and I can tell you that's not going to work out. So if this whole NXT WWE experiment doesn't work out, you can always go back to, of course, he was about to say AEW. But because we all know how that ended, right? Ricky and Tony Khan, that was not good. There's a real just bad blood there. And they're not seeing eye to eye. So Sean Spears says, oh, wait, we all know you've already burnt every bridge imaginable. You've already burnt every other bridge. I just thought it was so well. And then he walks away. And right before the segment ends, Ricky yells out, well, then I guess I better win then. Right? Like I'm putting all the chips are all on the table. I won't have any left anyway. You got to bet the house at this point. It's win or bust. It's win or I'm done. But you go back to just 2 minutes earlier when he was talking about a time where he was living in his car. He had nothing. Didn't know when his next bite of food was going to be, when he was going to put new clothes on his back. So that was a setup. He's telling you, I've already been at the lowest of lows with everything. The deck stacked against me and I had no choice but to win. And your sorry ass is going to talk shit? I guess I better win then, with a smile. Like, yeah, I've been in these positions before. It was just really good, man. Within less than 5 minutes, so much was accomplished with that. I just love that. I really, really do. I thought it was so well done. And I'll move on. I know. You're like, BC, that was so simplistic. We just spent 5 minutes on that. Well, that's what I mean. When something is done good, we want to talk of, right? That's a prime example of when I always tell you, I want to praise everything. I want to speak positive. Give me it. Just give me good television. Give me shit that makes sense so I can talk positively. You know how many times people come across the channel, oh, so negative, so harsh. All these companies suck, man. You see the television we're getting most weeks, most shows? It's not good, and you guys know it. So that shows you how real I am when I say I would love to praise things, man. I'll spend multiple minutes on everything if you just give me something to praise. We continue on toward the end of hour one. Tyson and Tyreek defeat a Hank and a Tank. Tag match. Pretty standard, dare I say boring. So there you go. We got to move on pretty fast from that. I don't even know I guess that was just to kind of introduce a Tyson and Tyreek to a lot of casuals that don't really know too much. I don't know what they're doing with a Hank and a Tank. At this point, boot them from the company. Nobody would notice. Hour one then ended. Hour two began with Lexis King defeating Javon Evans. Assist to Oba Femi, who was not happy with Evans. Post-match, the lights go out. Bootleg Retribution appears in the crowd, but Trick Williams in the ring takes out Evans, I believe inadvertently was the story. While the Bootleg Retribution collapse. Dark State, I think their name is. And they just clap in the audience. What? If you guys don't know, if you don't watch too much NXT, maybe you're just listening to BC's review, having a cup of coffee or your beverage. You're just listening because you don't really watch NXT. Guys, it's one of the strangest, stupidest gimmicks I've seen in a long time. Way more than Retribution. Way stupider. That's right, stupider. We made that a word. It's fitting. I don't... It was bad anyway when they were attacking everybody. Now they're just clapping in the stands. They just clap. What, is Trick Williams going to be their leader? Whoa, it's riveting television. Trick Williams' stock is going down, by the way. I don't know what's going on with Trick. The way they booked Oba last night. Oba did that run-in last night, taking out Javon Evans. Like he was just a mid-carder or somebody brand new on the lower card. I had to do a double take. Like, is that Oba? Like, it wasn't even a big reaction when he was... I was like, whoa, everybody's... Javon Evans, Trick Williams, Oba, whatever they got cooking. Maybe they learned how to cook from Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I don't know, but the kitchen is burning. Stop. I can't wait to get this whole thing done. This whole Javon Evans, Trick Williams, Oba Femi thing. It is weird. I don't know if it's because of the bootleg Retribution. Maybe they're tainting this. The whole lights going out and Trick's appearing and Oba's out there pedaling around with the Javon. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. And this goes to what I've been telling you guys. The women seem to be knocking it out of the park. The dudes, creatively, they're lost, it seems. Maybe Shawn Michaels is talking too much to Hunter recently. But it just seems with the dudes, they're just lost. So you see somebody like Ricky Saints, and it's kind of refreshing, right? And Ethan Page, that's what Ethan Page was doing before Saints got there. So I do like how they're playing that as a story, right? Ethan Page is pissed off because he knows that Ricky is the new Ethan. Hope that makes sense. Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley then defeat Legend and Jackson, a metaphor. Cemetery Drive for the pinfall. Match time clocked in just under 4 minutes. Just like the Tank, Hank, Tyson, Tyreek match, Gigi, Tatum, Legend, and Jackson. Standard, dare I say boring, not needed, absolute filler. It's one of those matches. Don't forget, guys, we have these talents as well. Okay, but doing what? Tony D then holds a sit down with the family. He wants intel on the Dark State. He also wants affirmation that he can trust Stax. Stax responds, of course you can trust me, T. Always. Very Sopranos, so I love it. And of course, little Rizzo, man. The lady they have in that group. It's Rizzo, correct? I keep asking this. That little graspy voice that she has, so Italian. I just love that, man. It all just works. And the fact that Stax called Tony D T. When I say very Sopranos, that's what, don't forget. Remember, especially Paulie Walnuts. He would always call Tony Soprano T. So it's just such a callback. So I like that. Tony D wants intel. What's going on with this Dark State? And then there's a side story as well with Stax. So I guess that's pretty cool too. I guess what you could say is with the Ricky Starks thing and with this, it's everything that happened outside the ring. And that's what I mean. The show should be for story development. Bolster the character development and the story progression. The wrestling matches, I know this is going to sound weird. It's a wrestling show. Listen, that's secondary, guys. It just is. All Ego Ethan Page, the aforementioned Ethan Page, defeats Andre Chase via pinfall. No real rhyme or reason, standard, dare I say boring. That's kind of a theme with a lot of these matches last night. But backstage, Ethan Page was really playing into, he doesn't like Ricky being on this roster. I really see something really special with Ricky and Ethan, man. Stephanie versus Fallon Henley, North American Championship. Stephanie pins Fallon Henley. I didn't know where they were going to go. You know, you think the obvious choice here is, listen, Stephanie's got to walk away with both, but no, maybe they don't want that type of pressure on her. So they were like, all right, take it back to the girl who had it before, right? Put it back on Fallon. And the way they did it, they had an out. They attacked Stephanie in match 1 with the Jada. So, hey, that's an out. See, Stephanie saves face. She was beaten up. Basically, she had a matchup with Jada and then afterwards got attacked by 3 ladies. Then they had to have another matchup while simultaneously having to take on the same 3 ladies all at once. Let's be honest. But they decided to keep it on Stephanie. That was pretty wild. Of course, after the match, so she was 2 for 2. She held on to both championships. A rare time that we get to see a champion defend twice. 2 separate titles, by the way. And keep both. That might have been the first time it's ever been done. I'll have to look back into the history books there. Post-match, of course, Fatal Influence attacks. But Jordan Grace for the save. And Jordan Grace is handing both titles back to Stephanie afterwards, but she holds on to one of them. Which was it, the North American? She held on to one of them a little too long. Stephanie didn't like that. Jada comes from behind, clocks Jordan, who hits Stephanie inadvertently. But then I think Jordan just took out Jada. So then Jada's like parked, no pun intended. Jada Parker is parked in front of the commentary table on her ass for the rest of the show until we went off the air. She's looking at Jordan and Stephanie kind of celebrating. Jada's kind of like holding her head like she just got... It made Jada look a little stupid. You attacked Jordan from behind and simultaneously got your ass beat. And then you just watch them two with all the gold celebrating. Jordan looking at Stephanie and her 2 titles. I don't know if I would have even brought Jada out there then. Or if I am, I'm taking out Jordan. And Stephanie maybe is still reeling from the attack from Fatal Influence. There was much better ways we could have ended that show that would not have made Jada Parker look like an absolute idiot. Especially after losing earlier in the night. Show goes off the air, but I'm very intrigued with this whole division. Jada Parker, Jordan Grace, Stephanie Vaquer, when Gigi. Well, Gigi maybe, but when Julia does come back, Roxy just left, although I have not seen her on the main roster in the last couple weeks, it feels. But you have Sol Ruka. I mean, there's just so much talent, man. So I'm very interested in that whole division. The dudes have to pick it up, storyline-wise. There was some bright parts, though, like I said. I do like this whole thing with Ricky and Shawn Spears, and even Ricky and All Ego. So common denominator is Ricky. But also I do like this little Tony D thing. I can't say I'm interested in Tony D versus Dark State in any way, because I'm just not interested in Dark State. But this thing with Stacks, this could be pretty good. Little things, guys. I guess that's the theme, right? The little things really caught my attention last night on this show. A lot of the wrestling matches were kind of standard. Stephanie was the star, as she should have been. 2 for 2. Congrats. What a talent. Jada, not last night, but she will have her night. But yeah, not a good night at all for Jada, especially how she was booked to end that thing. And that is your amped up for Wednesday, the 26th of March, 2025. Until next time, and there will be that next time, 44 Dive. That is a wrap. BC in the unit saying check you. Salute.